what are we trying to deal with today as Muslims? What are our problems? What's the reality of today? Can Islam survive in today's world? This is the best opportunity for you and I. Throughout history, many Muslims would love to have had the opportunity that is in front of each and every one of us today. Probably the question should have been, can Muslims survive in today's world? And it's Allah who's put you and I in this test. Believing in God is not enough. Believing God is one is the right step. But unless and until a person is ready to submit and dedicate their life to the Lord above, they haven't really achieved Islam yet. But the good news is, as long as you're alive, as long as you're breathing, as long as you have this faculty, this aql, there's hope. The Muslim is always living between two things, right? Hope and fear. We fear Allah's punishment. We fear the hellfire. And we fear the anger, the wrath, the ghadab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But on the other side, we have hope. We have iman and faith in Allah and His beautiful attributes. He is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. He's Latif. He's Al-Ghafur. He's the only one who can forgive. The all-merciful. The all-forgiving. And He is Al-Wadud, the all-loving. If we, Muslims, today, will really accept what Islam is, instead of talking about it, instead of referring to Islamism, Islamic, fundamentalist Islam, Orthodox Islam, Shiite Islam, Sufi Islam, and just come back to the Islam and leave off the descriptive adjectives. Drop the nonsense. Stop trying to show off for each other. Work for Him. You'd be surprised how well we can all survive in today's world. Because this is the same world it always was. It always belonged to Allah. It still belongs to Allah. And it's Allah who's in charge. And it's Allah who's put you and I in this test. Ibtila, the test from Allah. This is our test. I heard someone say, after the events of September the 11th in 2001, he said, "This is the worst time to be a Muslim." And he was saying it to somebody who just accepted Islam. A man gave up everything and came to Islam. His family was against him. His church was against him. His society, his job, everybody against him. But he accepted what I just told you. La ilaha illallah. And when he got into the masjid, he runs into a man who says, "This is the worst time to be a Muslim." The man called me on the phone and he said, "What should I do? This man told me this thing. I feel horrible that he said it. I still feel good about Islam, but I don't understand." I said, "Let me tell you something. This is the best time to be a Muslim. This is the best opportunity for you and I. Throughout history, many Muslims would love to have had the opportunity that is in front of each and every one of us today. Many Muslims say, 'Oh, I would like to die for Allah.' But when you ask them, they don't even want to walk across the street or give 10 cents to support the cause of real Islam. Many Muslims will tell you, 'Oh, I would like to go out and do jihad. I would like to,' and they don't even know what jihad is. Another problem that we run into, and it's a very serious problem, is speaking without knowledge. It seems like The Muslims have a hard time in admitting they don't know something. They just want to jump out and give answers to questions. Oh, let me answer. Oh, they want to talk about jihad. Let me say it. I want to say jihad al-akbar, jihad al-nafs. Oh, I know how to say that in Arabic. Ha! Or somebody else give a question about something very serious, about how you treat women in the Quran. Oh, I can say it. You take a stick and you beat her with it. Whoa. What are you talking about? Where do you get this stuff? It reminded me when I got to Islam that when I was a Christian, I know there were 3 words that the Christians have a hard time saying. Yeah, they do. Yeah, you can tell a guy just got married, right? And he's at work. He's on the job and the phone rings. Yes, honey. Okay, I'll bring it home on the way. Okay, bye-bye. Huh? What? Yeah, me too. What? Yeah, me too. I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too, honey. Honey, I'm at work. I can't say it. I love you. Can't do it. Now, Muslims, we don't have a problem with that. I can say it. We say it all the time. And we say it with conviction because we really do love. And we love our wives. We love our children. And we say it all the time. And our brothers in Islam, and we say to them, Ana hibbuk fillah. I love you for Allah. It's easy for us. But we have 3 words that we can't say. It's really hard for us. Somebody comes up and they got a question. What does Islam say about beating your wives? Why can a woman have only one husband? A man can have 4 wives. And we're all going, I want to answer. Why? Because we can't say the 3 words, I don't know. In the history of Islam, we find that the best of the scholars frequently said, I don't know. I believe it was Imam Malik, one of the greatest of the scholars of Islam, rahimahullah, who was in Medina. And I think it was from the southern part of Arabia that they sent questions to him. And he went through the questions, maybe 26 out of 40 or 40 out of 50, whatever it was. A majority of the questions he didn't answer. And when they looked at it, they said, wait a minute, how are we going to go back and tell him that, we didn't get answers from Malik on these questions? He said, when you go back, you tell him Imam Malik doesn't know the answers to those questions. Who are we? Compare yourself to the great scholars like Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, Imam Malik, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Imam al-Shafi, any of the great scholars, Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn Kathir, Ibn al-Qayyim. Can we compare ourselves to them? And the answer is absolutely not. Yet they had such taqwa and fear of Allah, they would never have run out to give these fast answers to everything. Oh, I know the answer. No. Another thing I learned from some of the best of the scholars on this planet, and I'm so appreciative to Allah to let me sit with some of the greatest scholars. Many of them have now passed away, and may Allah have mercy on their souls. And some of them are here with us today, and may Allah reward them. But I've watched them, and it just happened yesterday. We were sitting, and I'm not going to say who it was, but we're sitting, one scholar and I were debating about a topic about the salat. Another elder scholar was sitting with us, and I had an opinion, and my friend had an opinion. But when we asked the elder about the subject, he brought an answer that made both of us shut up. It was beautiful. Because the wisdom with the real ulama is not only that they know Islam, but they understand what's called ahwal, the condition, the prevailing condition today. And I'm going to end the topic right here with this so that you get the picture. The ahwal today, the condition today, has to be understood before you can give an answer to anything. If somebody asks you a question, you don't know their background, you don't know their situation, you don't know anything except what you read in a book translated from Arabic by you don't even know who, you're not really giving them the right answer, are you? No. I'm going to end with this one little thing to give you something to think about. Many times it comes to me, a lady will come up to me, or a man will come up to me after a speech, Brother, I have to talk to you. Brother Yusuf, I need to talk to you. This is serious. I got to talk to you. Okay. You see, my husband, I said, whoa, wait a minute. My wife, she said, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're going to ask me a question. Yes. And it has to do with your marriage or your spouse. Yes, that's right. I said, I cannot answer your question like this until you can bring me a coin. Bring me a coin that only has one side, and then I'll answer your question. There's always two sides. Let's keep it in balance. Let's keep a balance. The Muslim woman is balanced. And let's love each other for the sake of Allah. And loving each other for the sake of Allah doesn't mean loving the one that you already like anyway. It means loving the one that you have a problem with, the one you have a disagreement with. This guy is... No, wait a minute. He said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. What I want you to do, what I want you to think about, there's your test. If you want to love for Allah, love Him. Love Him for Allah. If you can do that, maybe Allah can love you. Make sense? Now, I finished my speech already, but I would like to just throw this one little thing out to you and let you think about it. And I heard it from a community, a beautiful community that lived a long time ago. But they had an enemy from outside, and of course we always have an enemy from inside, which is the devil. We all have the shaitan around us all the time. But they had an enemy on the outside of the city, attacking them day after day, trying to beat them to get to their fortress and break it down to get into the Muslims. They couldn't beat them because Allah was with them. Allah was with them. Until one of the enemies said, you know what? I got an idea. Let me go inside. So he went inside. He said, I'd like to convert to Islam. What do I need to do? And they told him, say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He said, okay, I'll say it. Then he said with their, halaqah? They sat together at night at a halaqah, and after the halaqah or learning session, which was about Surah Kahf. You know Surah Kahf, chapter 18 in the Quran. And the beginning part of it has a story about the people sleeping in the cave, and nobody knows how many there were. Some said there were 4, and the dog made 5. Some said 6, the dog made 7. Some said 8, and the dog made 9. Verily, nobody knows but Allah. Well, after he got through explaining this, the sheikh said, would anybody like to ask a question? And some had question, and they came to this young man, and he said, I'm so new in Islam, I'm not entitled to even ask a question, am I? They said, no, we want your question. Go ahead, what is your question? He said, well, it's a strange question, and probably you don't even know the answer anyway. The sheikh said, oh, certainly I do. Go ahead, what's your question? Sir, what color was the dog? The dog's color? The dog was, he was white. It was a white dog. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. The next day, he goes to the other side of town to one of the other camps, one of the other minhages, right? And after they were through with their halaqah, he said, could I ask a question? They said, sure, what is it? He said, well, I'm so new, and I probably shouldn't even ask. They said, no, come on, what's the question? He said, well, is it chapter 18, Surah Kahf? There's a story about some people in a cave. Yes, Surah Kahf, yes, go ahead. Do you want to know how many people? No, I don't. I just want to know the dog. Yes, there was a dog. What color was the dog? The dog's color. You don't know? Oh, I know. It's the dog is black. The dog was black. Oh, sir, are you sure? Yes, of course, I'm sure. Couldn't be some other color? No. What if somebody said it was some other color? Oh, he doesn't have any knowledge. Don't listen to him. Okay, thank you. Next day, and now he's back over on the other side again. And at the end of the halaqah again, he said, can I ask a question? Oh, it's the new Muslim. Come on and ask us. What's your question? Well, you remember I asked about the dog? Yes, the white dog. Well, that's what I want to ask you about. What would you say if somebody said the dog wasn't white, the dog was black? What is an idiot? An idiot? An idiot, a fool, he doesn't know anything. And all of the Jama'ah started laughing. An idiot, a fool. Okay, thank you. Next day, back to the side, same thing again. Question, okay, what would you say about somebody who said you were an idiot and a fool? Who said that? The sheikh on the other side of town said anybody who called the dog black was an idiot and a fool. Well, he's an idiot and he's a fool. Next night, you see how it works? Now the people began all getting upset. You call my sheikh a fool? Oh, yeah? You call my sheikh an idiot? Oh, yeah? Come on, baby. Boom. And they started fighting. They started fighting with each other. First it was arguing, and then it was hitting and smashing. Then they started trying to kill each other. And then the enemy went back outside. He said, okay, guys, we got them now. And they did. And they attacked with no mercy and came down, and there was no support from Allah. And they all lost. They all lost to the enemy. Not the enemy outside the gate. The enemy within. What color is your dog? Think about it. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Yusuf Estes. At this point, we'll start the question and answers. With no further delays, brother, if you have a question, please state your name and question.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Imran Khan. I am working as a worker in a factory. I want to ask a question that now today's world, there are different groups of Muslims. They are different views about the Islam. The Islam is only one. Quran is only one. But their point of view looking towards the Islam is different. And it is not clear to common man to understand what is the real Islam. So what common man can do for this?
That's a beautiful question. And again, it's another common question that we receive a lot. By the way, this particular question is so big and so important that I wrote an article about it some years ago, and I re-edit it every year to add a little bit more, a little bit more. But in it is the story of the color of the dog. If you would like to get that story, the whole story, and all about the answer to your question, I have a website called IslamTomorrow.com. Then put the slash and the word groups, Groups. IslamTomorrow.com/groups. That's it. You got it. And you get the whole story, but abbreviated version. I hope I can give it to you just shortly right now. You said Muslims. Muslims. That's key. What is a Muslim? What does it take to be a Muslim? Are you a Muslim? And if you say yes, I will ask you, what makes you a Muslim? And you will say the Shahada. The Shahada makes me a Muslim. And I will ask you, what is the Shahada? And you will say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu Muhammadan Rasulullah. And you will be right. And if you live up to that, if you'll put that into practice, then it really is between you and Allah. At the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessing be upon him, there was a battle going on. Some of the enemies to the Muslims were fighting them, killing them, and the Muslims are fighting back. And one of the Muslims finally got the advantage over one of the enemy, and he was about to kill him. And the enemy said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And the man killed the enemy anyway. When Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, heard about this, he became very upset. And he kept saying over and over, what will you do with your Shahada on the Day of Judgment? What will you do with your Shahada on the Day of Judgment? Because the man assumed, well, he's not really a Muslim. He just said it so we wouldn't kill him. Prophet said, did you open his heart and look? And that's something we have to consider. Are you able to open a person's heart and examine them and know for sure if they're really Muslim or not Muslim? If you feel there is a need for knowledge in your community, here's a suggestion. Go get that knowledge and come back and try to apply it with wisdom. Use some wisdom. And by the way, there's an old saying. It says you get a lot more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
Brother, we'll take a question from you now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh.
Sheikh Yusuf, my question is, first of all, my name is Muhammad Rafiq from UK, and I'm a businessman. My question is of a financial nature. In line with today's topic, can a Muslim survive in today's world? We know that throughout the world, the foundations of finance are based on riba. Can Muslims world over, and I think this question is relevant for Muslims all over the world, can Muslims survive without indulging in riba?
Beautiful question, Muhammad. Thank you very much. All I can tell you is what Allah said in the Quran and what His Prophet ﷺ said. Allah said in the Quran, and this is in chapter Baqarah, chapter 2, read this, starts at about ayah number 276 and goes back to about 280. And read those verses in there. In particular, I think it's 279 when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word harb. Harb, it means what? War. Allah and His Messenger declare harb, war against you, if you continue to deal in riba. It is so bad that Allah used this word, and He used a lot of verses to talk about it too. For every one of us, we should know that it's big time haram, haram, haram. But it's not a new order. It was for the Jews before us. And ipso facto the Christians as well, because they're supposed to be following their book. The Jews, on the other hand, said, well, it's only between us. We can go loan it to you guys. It doesn't count. Well, you're not Jewish. Some Muslims are trying to take that attitude. Some Muslims are taking the attitude, well, I live in a non-Muslim country, therefore, I can go ahead and do it. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave us the answer to that. He said, more or less what means in English, that in the last days, riba will be everywhere and it will touch all of us. And it has done that. But as far as other businesses are concerned, and you want to talk about financial matters, there is a part of our program especially for that. And I hope, inshallah, you'll get a chance to participate with that. And I'm sure with your wisdom and knowledge in the background, you can even help us with that as well. Thank you, Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.